Hi everyone, welcome to Vishwa Blooms. So in this video we will be looking at class 9 NCERT Biology Tissues chapter 6 Animal Tissue, which is our part 2. So in the previous video we have completed plant tissues in detail. I have explained. So in this video we will discuss the animal tissues. Now we have to discuss the animal tissue. So animal tissue, based on the function they are doing, they are divided into 4. So what are those 4? First one is epithelial tissue. Second one is connective tissue. Third one is muscular tissue, and fourth one is nervous tissue. So let's get into these in detail. Now, epithelial tissue. So, what is epithelial tissue? Epithelial tissue is like covering or protective tissue in the animal body. It is in the sense like almost all the body parts it will cover. Okay, this epithelial tissue is covered almost to all the body parts. Now, epithelium covers most organs and cavities within the body. So as I have just now told that all the body parts it will be covering, or even the organs and cavities in the body it will be covering. Okay, now these epithelial tissue, it is very tightly packed and it is forming a continuous sheet. Tightly packed and it is forming a continuous sheet. Okay, and there are almost no intercellular spaces. So there are no spaces between one particle to another. Okay, and then different epithelia shows differing structures that correlate with similar function. Now different epithelium is there. There are types of epithelia. So each one will be showing different functions. So that one now in detail we will be learning. So let's get into types of epithelia or epithelial tissue. Now there are types of epithelial tissue as I have told. So first one is squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium is again classified into two, that is squamous or simple squamous epithelium and stratified squamous epithelium. And the next epithelial tissue is columnar epithelium. Next one is ciliated columnar or ciliated epithelium. Next one is cuboidal epithelium, and the last one is glandular epithelium. So let's get into these topics. First we will discuss the squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium. In this word squama, what is the meaning of this word squama? It is scale of skin. Okay. Now transportation. Now this is outer covering, right? So the things have to be transported from the external environment and the internal environment. So transportation of the substances which is going outside and inside, that will occur only through a selectively permeable surface. That means only selectively, only some parts are allowed. Okay, it is selecting. And now what is a squamous epithelium? It is one kind of simple flat epithelium. Okay, and this squamous epithelium is very thin and flat. Okay, and it is forming, wherever it will form the lining, it is going to be very delicate lining is there. Okay, and where it is present in the cell lining of the blood vessels, even in lung alveoli and esophagus, and lining in the mouth also is squamous epithelium. Now let's just have a look on squamous epithelium. Now you can see the squamous, it is very thin, right? Only one layer is there, right? It is thin and flat. Okay, so this is squamous. Now looking at stratified squamous epithelium. So in stratified squamous epithelium, what it is, it's just like the squamous itself, a simple squamous, but here the layers are arranged in a pattern. So arranged in a pattern of layers. So why it is arranged in such a way? Because we are preventing the wear and tear. That means sometimes if it is getting used more and more, it will get tear, right? So that's why, to prevent that, that's why we are arranging in a pattern of layers. And where it is present in our skin itself. It is a stratified squamous epithelium. So let's look at the pic once. So you can see the pic here that there are many layers, right? There are many layers of stratified squamous. There are many layers, so which will prevent, and it will keep, it will prevent tear and wear, and it will keep it strong. Okay. Now columnar epithelium. See, columnar epithelium, here what happens is absorption and secretion. Absorption and secretion will be happening here in columnar epithelium. And how they are present? They are like, tall epithelial cells are present like this, in this way. Tall they are. Okay. And these columnar is like pillar like epithelium. Okay, it is like pillar upon the surface. Okay, it will look like that only. I will show the picture also. And where it is present on the inner lining of the intestines. Okay, in the intestine inner lining it is there. Okay, now we will see the pic. So this is the pic of columnar epithelium. As I have told, they are in this way like a pillar, right? Yeah, so you can observe that. Now ciliated epithelium. So ciliated epithelium, what is this? You will be thinking, right? So in the respiratory tract, like there, in this columnar epithelium, it will have cilia, which is like hair-like projections on the outer surface of that columnar epithelium. Okay, on the columnar epithelium, on the outer surface of it, there is some hair-like projection called as cilia. So this cilia, what it can do, it can move and push the mucus forward to clear it. To the mucus, it can push forward. Okay. Now we will see cuboidal epithelium. So cuboidal epithelium, these epithelium is in shape of cube. So you can see, right, it is in cube shape here already. Right, the picture is already clearly mentioning it. And what does this cuboidal epithelium do? It will give the mechanical support, and where it is present, mostly it is present in the kidney tubules and the ducts of salivary glands. Okay, in near the salivary glands also it is present in the ducts. Now glandular epithelium. So glandular epithelium, it will acquire additional specializations. So it has some extra features, that is like gland cells, and which secrete, what they secrete? Substances at the epithelial surface. So at the epithelial surface it is secreting the substances. And now sometimes what happens is that this portion of epithelial tissue, sometimes it will get fold inwards, and to form a multicellular gland, epithelial tissue is folded inward. Okay, so that is glandular epithelium. So with this we completed our epithelial tissue. Now we will see the connective tissue. Now we will discuss the connective tissue. So connective tissue, the cells of this connective tissue are loosely spaced. Okay, that means there are lots of space between cell to cell for connective tissue, and they are embedded in an intercellular matrix. So I will explain this matrix now. So matrix, they are embedded in an intercellular matrix. Here matrix means that it can be in any form, like jelly like, or in fluid, in the sense like liquid or gas, or dense, which is very thick, and rigid is like not so thick, right? And the nature of matrix will differ with function of particular tissue. So based on the function, the matrix, nature of the matrix will differ. So this is the nature of the matrix, right? Whether it is in the form of a fluid or a liquid or a jelly type or dense or rigid, right? So that's the thing about the connective tissue. Now we should discuss the types of connective tissues. So now we have to learn 7 connective tissues, that is blood, bone, ligament, tendon, cartilage, areolar tissue, adipose tissue. So let's get into blood first. Now blood. So blood is actually a fluid, that is liquid matrix, that is plasma. So fluid matrix is plasma, and again we are having blood, right? So many things are there in blood, that is plasma is there in blood, RBC, WBC and platelets. So what is RBC? Red blood corpuscles, and also called as erythrocytes, and WBC is white blood corpuscles, which are also called as leukocytes, and platelets are called as thrombocytes. Now what does plasma contain? So plasma contains proteins, salts, hormones, and now blood flows, right, as we all know. So blood flows, and what it do transports the gases, the digested material and food and waste material to different parts of our body. Okay, now we have to learn about WBC. So now different white blood corpuscles. So as you know, there are different types of WBC, as I have just now told. So first we are having neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil. Okay, so these three are the one which will come and attack any material which is coming, like any virus also. If it is there, it will come and attack first. Okay, these three are very active if any agent is coming. So this neutrophil is called the polynuclear leukocyte. Okay, leukocyte is nothing but WBC only, right? We just now we have discussed. So these three are in that way, and you can see in eosinophil, I'll zoom it. This is the nucleus. Okay, like nucleus is divided into two, you can see, right? But there is a connection between them, and this is the cytoplasm and the nucleus, which is like dividing 1 and 2, both are there, which is connected. Okay, and for neutrophil, how it is like a group, some 3 to 7 groups, like crumbs, like that it is, right? You can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, you can see here, right? But all are connected with each other. You can see the connections also. So there are like 7 crumbs, 3 to 7 crumbs are there. Okay, and here only 2, exactly 2 will be dividing, and basophil, you can see there are many. And here this is the cytoplasm, as you all know, and this is nucleus, which is divided into 2. Okay, and then we have to discuss about the next two, that is lymphocytes and monocytes. So these also, they are also different different WBCs, but these are not so soft as neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil. These three, they will come and fight first, but they are a little bit soft in dealing with it. But this lymphocytes and monocytes, they are very rude, like in the sense, when if they are not able to fight against any virus, these lymphocyte and monocyte, they are instant, they don't waste much of time, and they just come, they engulf the virus. Engulfing is nothing but eating or having it. So engulfing, they will engulf the material. Okay, so that's about the WBC. Now we will see the next part. That is bone. So what does bone do? It gives the framework that supports the body. So as we all know, even for us also, bones are literally very important, and it gives the shape to our body, and some framework also it was forming, right? And it is anchors muscles, in the sense these muscles are connected with this bone, right? It is attached with it, so we are able to move our hands because of bones. It is giving instruction, right? It is moving with the muscle, and it supports main organs of the body. Now without bone, you can't even move the muscle, or you can't move your hand also, right? And bone is so strong and non-flexible, you cannot break your bone, right? It is because it is composed of calcium and phosphorus compounds. So it is having calcium and phosphorus, that's why it is so strong. What kind of matrix is there? It is hard matrix. Okay, hard matrix. Now next part is ligaments. So ligaments, what is this ligaments do? So two bones are connected together to each other with ligaments only. So ligaments are very elastic and they are having good strength also, and they are having very little matrix. And what does ligament do? It will connect bone to bone. Now I will show how it will connect. Suppose this is a bone. Just imagine, drawing is not nice. So bone to bone, suppose this is your arm and this is your hand. Here you can move, right? You are able to move due to ligaments only. So there is ligament present there. So that is the some connection will be there, right? That is only ligament. Okay, so that's why you are able to move. Considerable strength is telling that it is having only limited movement, so you cannot bend it backward, right? Only to up to 180 degree you can just keep your elbow, right? Only till 180 degree, you cannot go 360, right? You cannot go. So that's what considerable strength is there. Okay, now tendons. These tendons are the one which will connect muscles to bones. Okay, it is connecting muscles to the bones. So now you are having bones. On top of that you are having muscle, right, which you are able to feel. So that connection is done by tendons. Okay, and it is the fibrous tissue which is having great strength. Okay, you cannot pluck it off, right? It is having great strength, but it is flexible, but it is limited flexibility is there. Okay, limited flexibility. Now sometimes we will get confused with this ligaments and tendons. So ligaments and tendons, so we think that both are same, but both are generally not same. Here ligaments, it will connect bone to bone, B to B, remember that. And tendons, it will connect, what it will connect? It will connect muscle to bones. So remember this formula. B to B is ligament, M to B is tendon. That's it. Okay. Now we will see the cartilage. Now we will discuss cartilage. So cartilage are spaced cells. Okay, it is having space between them, and it is solid matrix only. Mostly this cartilage is composed of protein and sugar. It is containing protein and sugar. So what it is mainly doing, it is smoothening bone at joints, bone surfaces. If you see at joints, it is very smooth, right? That is it is smoothening it. Now where cartilage is present, it is present in the nose. You can bend your nose, right? You can move here and there. Even here you can fold it, right? And trachea and larynx is a voice box. Even voice box is also it is having cartilage. So that's why we're able to speak, right? Here you can feel that. And cartilage, now main difference between cartilage and bones. In these 2 points we can find that cartilage can be folded. I'm able to fold my nose. But bones, I am not able to bend my bone. Hand bone, I am not able to bend. That is the main difference between cartilage and bone. Now we will be discussing the areolar connective tissue. So areolar connective tissue, where it is found in the skin and muscles. This connective tissue is found in the skin and muscles, and it is also found around the blood vessels also. It is there, and it is also there in the nerves, bone marrow also. And what it will do, this areolar connective tissue, it will fill the space inside the organs. Okay, this will fill the space in the organs, and it will support the internal organs also. Whatever inside organs are there, everything will be support will be getting from areolar connective tissue. And it is also very much helpful in the repair of tissues. Okay, repair part also it is helpful. So this is the point for areolar connective tissue. Now adipose tissue. Now adipose tissue. So adipose connective tissue, this is the fat storing tissue. That means you will be having right towards your stomach, right and left sides you will be having, right, that is only fat. So fat is present in many parts of our body also. Okay, so mainly this fat is present in skin and between the internal organs. So wherever that is present, adipose tissue will be there, because this adipose tissue only, it is storing the fat. Okay, that's why it is fat storing tissue. And cells of these tissues are filled with fat globules. Okay, what it is filled with? Fat globules. Okay, and the storage of fat, let's think as an insulter. See, what does this sentence mean? I will explain. See, what our body thinks is that why it stores fat, why we will be getting this bulk like projection here. I mean, like a structure we will be getting. Why we will get? Because our body will think like for 10 years this fellow won't eat, so we have to save it. So that's why we will get fat and adipose tissue. In that, this is the fat storing tissue. That fat whatever is there, this adipose tissue will be storing it. Okay, now successfully we completed the connective tissue. Now we will move on to the muscular tissue. Now muscular tissue. So muscular tissue, what it is consisting of? It is consisting of an elongated cell which is called as muscle fibers. And this muscular tissue is only responsible for the movement in our body. So if you don't have the muscles, we can't move, right? As you all know, we can't move without the muscles. And muscular tissue, it contains some special proteins which are called as contactile proteins. What these proteins will do? It will contract and relax to cause movement. So now while you are breathing in, it will get free up, right, your chest part, and when you are breathing out, like slowly it will come release and it will contract and relax, right? When you are breathing in, it is getting contracted, and when you are breathing out, it is getting relaxed. Okay, so that is only, it is due to contactile proteins. And now we will get into the types of muscular tissue. There are many types, so we will learn it one by one. Now muscular tissue, it is totally actually divided into 5, but in involuntary we are having again 2 more. So totally 7 are there to study. In detail we have to study, but it's okay, it is very easy. Now first muscular tissue type is voluntary muscles, and second is skeletal muscles, then involuntary muscles. Under involuntary muscles we are having smooth muscles and even cardiac muscles. So these also we will learn everything, okay, in a brief. And then we have striated muscles and unstriated muscles. So first let's talk about voluntary muscles. Now we will discuss the voluntary muscles. So voluntary muscles which are in our control, so which we are able to move when we want, and which we can stop when we want. So now suppose hand is there, so whenever I want to move it up, I can just move it, right? Whenever I want to put it down, I can release it. And even legs also, whenever I want to move it forward, I can move it, and or else whenever I want to go backward, I can just go, or else if I want to stop there, I can stop. So that's what limbs are, nothing but hands and also legs. So that is limbs. Example is that only I have given. Okay, now we will get into the next one. Now skeletal muscles. So voluntary muscles which are there, right, just now I have discussed it, that means which are in our control, are also called as skeletal muscles, because They are mostly attached to bones and help in movement. So skeletal muscles, what is it is, like these muscles are attached to the bones. Suppose now hand is there. So what is it? We are able to see the muscle inside, bone is there which is sticking to it, right? Both are attached. So bones and muscles, with that only we are able to move our hand, right? So that's what. It is skeletal muscles. So this is a skeletal muscle, right? Yeah. So now next one we will see striated muscles. Now striated and unstriated muscles we will discuss. Striated muscles. So under the view of microscope, what happened was muscle was showing alternate light and dark bands, and when it was stained nicely in the way appropriate way, when it was stained, some light and dark bands were moving. Okay, it was showing. So cells of these tissues, they were long, cylindrical, unbranched, and they were having many nuclei. So if you are having many nucleus, it is called as multinucleate. So how they were, the striated muscles are long, cylindrical, and unbranched. Then now we will see unstriated muscles. Now unstriated muscles, they are very long and they are having pointed ends. That is what shape they are in. It is spindle shaped and they are uninucleate. That means they are having only one nucleus. So uni means one, right? That's why one nucleus. Multi means is many, right? That's why many nucleus. So in that way you have to remember this. Now we will discuss the involuntary muscles. So involuntary muscles are the just opposite to the voluntary muscles. They are opposite, that's it. So involuntary, what we had, like we are able to move, right? Which are in our control. These muscles are in our control. But in involuntary, just the opposite. In is there, right? Prefix we can understand. So we cannot stop or start the movement of these muscles. Okay, we cannot start it or we cannot stop it also. Like now if you see the movement of food in the alimentary canal and contraction and relaxation of blood vessels. Now blood vessels, can you stop them? They will be contracting and relaxing, right? Now can you tell, yes, stop the function? If you tell also, simply you are telling, the function will not be stopping, right, in any way. So that's what. Now under involuntary, we are having again two, as I have already told, right, just now. So under involuntary we are having two, that is smooth muscle cells and cardiac, right? So first we will see the smooth muscle cells. So smooth muscles, these what they will do, they will control the muscles. So they will also control the muscles, okay? And where they are found, these smooth muscles are so smooth, right? So they are found in the iris of the eye. So inside the eye, you know, right, there are parts of eye. In that, it is found in the iris and urethrus and bronchi of the lungs. So in the lungs part, where it is found, bronchi. Okay, now we will see the cardiac. Now cardiac muscles. So cardiac muscles are only, the speciality of cardiac muscle is it is only present in heart. No other place it is present. Okay, only in heart. Okay. So muscles of heart, generally you can see the rhythmic contraction and relaxation and contraction is there. Okay, that will occur throughout the life. Okay, when you are born till your death, till we die, this rhythmic contraction and relaxation will be going on. It will not stop. Okay, now if I tell my heart, hey, stop pumping, okay, then will it listen? If it stops, suppose if it listens and if it stops, obviously I will die. The person will die, whoever says in that way, right? So that's what, you cannot control it. It is involuntary, that's why. Okay, you cannot control it. You cannot give instructions to those. If you give instructions and if it is crazy, then life will be lost. That's why it is involuntary. And heart cells are cylindrical. So as you know, and cylindrical, and they are branched. So what are these branched and unbranched? So branched in the sense like branches it will be. Unbranched means it is not branched. Okay, like in the trees you will be seeing, right, so many branches. In that similar way it is also branched. Okay, and uninucleate, as I have already discussed earlier, uni in the sense one, so only one nucleus is present over there. Now we will discuss the nervous system, nervous tissue. So we have completed the muscular tissue. Now nervous tissue. So nervous tissue is mainly consisting of three. So these three parts make up the nervous tissue. First it is brain, second it is spinal cord, and third it is nerves. So these three only are making the nervous system. So first we will learn the points on the nervous tissue, and then we will see about the neuron unit of the nervous tissue. Okay, now nervous system, there are many points to learn, so we will learn one by one. So in nervous tissue, all the cells, they are having ability to respond to stimuli. So now I will explain this stimuli. In previous classes we would have already learned what is stimuli, but I will explain it again. Now suppose here one hot pan is there. You didn't know that it was very hot, okay, and you with unknowingly you touched with your finger. What you will do? Immediately you will take off from that whatever that pan is there, right? Immediately you will take it off. Your hand, you will take it off. So now you are taking off your hand, right? So that is a response to stimuli. So here this pan is there, right? That is stimuli, and you are moving your hand away from it. That is the response to the stimuli. Okay, I hope you understood this stimuli part. So these cells are having ability or capability to respond to the stimuli. That's what, okay, that's what I've given example also. Now brain, spinal cord, nerves are composed of nervous tissue. Just now I have told that. And just now I have told one thing, right? I will say the neuron unit of nervous tissue. So here, what is neuron, you will be thinking, right? That only is the third point. Whatever the cells which are present in the nervous tissue, as you all know, tissue is nothing but a group of cells which will make sure to achieve some particular function, right? So this nervous tissue, in that whatever this functional unit, that is the cell which is there, these cells are called as nerve cells or neurons. So I have used the word neuron here, right? That's it. That is neuron. Okay, now fourth point here. Neuron consists of a cell body with nucleus and cytoplasm. So that neuron part I will be explaining with the diagram. Okay, so that time I will tell you what it is consisting of, and all parts we will discuss in detail. Okay, and neuron also consists of a cell body which is having a nucleus and cytoplasm, as I am telling again. And how much length do you think this neuron will be? You know, it is 1 meter long. It's very long. That means 100 centimeter, right? So long it is. Okay, one nerve, only one nerve I'm talking about. One nerve is 1 meter. It can be, okay, 100 centimeter, very long it is. Okay, and signal that passes through this nerve fiber is called as nerve impulse. Okay, the nerve impulse, this bit is very important. Even though it is very small part, it is very important. The signal, whatever it is passing from each nerve fiber, that is only the nerve impulse. While explaining with the diagram, I will explain again nerve impulse also. And what does this do is, it allows us to move our muscles whenever we want to. This nervous tissue, like we are getting instructions from the brain, right? That's why I'm moving my hand. Suppose I want to move my hand, means I'm getting instruction from the brain. That's why I am doing it. So that's why this nervous tissue is very much essential for our body. Now I will explain the diagram as I have told you, the neuron. Now I will explain the neuron unit of nervous tissue. So this is very important diagram. Actually, you will get it for 2 mark or 3 mark question. Okay, this is one question. You will get it for 2 mark or 3 mark. Okay, now I will explain this. Here, first you will be having something like a chain. Okay, that is called as axon. So here you can see that one small yellow line is passing like this. See, everything is interconnected. Like, it is like branched, right? It is branched. So these branches are there right here. You can see like this one. These are called as dendrites. What are they called? They are called as dendrites. Okay. So, and in the center you can see this black color thing, right? Sorry, blue color it is here. That is called as nucleus. Okay, here they already mentioned nucleus. Okay, and where is the cytoplasm, you will be asking, right? This is the cytoplasm. They didn't mention, I am mentioning. Okay, and this whichever line which is connecting to the nerve ending, right? This is the nerve ending point. So here the nerve ends, right? So from here, this is a cell body. From the cell body to the nerve ending, one connection you can see, one small yellow line is there. Deeply observe in your textbook so that it will be very clear. Don't try to observe here and stress your eyes. So that line is called as axon. What it is called as axon. Here it is mentioned. And this is the cell body. So this total is the neuron unit of the nervous tissue. Now next to this something will be attached, right? Other nerve will be attached, right? So you don't think that in this way only again. Normally, generally you will get confused and you will think like this only will be there, yeah. Like this it will be connected and then this part will be there, that one only. That cell body will be there. You don't think, okay, it is wrong. Like this it won't be there. It is ulta. Whatever you think, it is ulta, okay. It will be in such a way that these nerves are there, right? With that it will be connected. And again, one axon will be going here. One axon line is there, right? And then it will connect to other nerves again. Okay, again this part will be there. In this way, it will just keep continuing. 1 meter it is, right? Very long. Okay. So that is how this will be there, neuron unit. And now I will say this nerve impulse also I have told, right? I will tell, wait 1 second. So nerve impulse, how the signal is passing through this. So now this signal from this part of for this, it will be there, right? Previous nerve will be there. From that it will catch the signals and again it will get into this, and this straight line will give it to the other nerve endings. Again this cell body will be taking, again it will go there and again it will pass the signals. This is only nerve impulse, how it will be present, okay, how it is functioning. So that is the nerve impulse part also I have explained. Now one point in the last I will say, the functional combination of nerve and muscles. These nerves and muscles, this will only enable animals to move rapidly in response to stimuli. I told, right, you are taking off the finger from that hot pan after knowing it. So that is the response to stimuli. So immediately, if you want to know, if you have to move it rapidly, then there should be a functional combination of nerve and muscle. Then only it is going to happen. So with this, we have successfully completed our tissues chapter. So at last, thank you for watching our video. Do like, share and subscribe to Vishwa Blooms and don't forget to click the bell icon.